Day 1 of the Baltimore Ravens training camp is officially in the books. And if the first practice is any indication of what's to come, buckle up. Because this team is coming in hot. The new faces in Baltimore didn't just show up, they showed out. From the veterans with something to prove to the rising stars, already turning heads the Ravens are. Setting the tone early, and it's clear that the mindset inside that facility is laser-focused. This isn't just another year at Super Bowl or bust. There's always a special energy on day 1, you can feel it. After months of speculation, workouts, and off-season storylines, football is finally back. And not in the run-around-in-shorts type of way, we're talking real on-field action. With intensity, competition, and players looking to make their mark from the jump. That urgency was visible across the board, and perhaps no one embodied it better than Jaire Alexander, who wasted zero time showing why the Ravens were so excited to bring him in. Alexander was without question the standout of the day. He was flying all over the field, breaking up passes, reading routes, and making it crystal clear that his presence is going to elevate this defense. One of the highlights came on a deep ball down the sideline intended for Dayton Wade. Alexander tracked it perfectly, rose up, got a hand in, and shut it down. Then came his signature celebration, the seatbelt strap, a not societal reminder that when you throw his way, you're locking yourself in for a battle. It's a swagger this Ravens defense has been known for, and now they've got another elite player bringing that same energy. And here's the thing about Alexander, this isn't just a guy trying to hold onto his spot. This is a player on a mission, coming off an injury that might have led some to doubt if he was still the same guy. Alexander looks locked in. The injury, a PCL issue, hampered his ability to perform at the level we're used to seeing, but those around him now say that hunger is different. That drive to remind the league who he is, that edge is showing up on every snap. And when you pair that with the veterans and young stars already on this Ravens defense, it's a scary combination. The secondary isn't just deep, it's versatile. There's swagger, there's chemistry, and there's competition. Nate Wiggins and Malik Neighbors made headlines last season with their training camp duels. Now it's Alexander stepping in, and you can already tell that iron is sharpening iron all over again. In fact, Alexander made another play where he jammed a receiver at the line, tracked the quarterback's eyes, and when the ball went elsewhere, he stared the route down like, don't even try it. That confidence, that controlled arrogance, is what defines great corners in the NFL. And the Ravens know it, but Alexander wasn't the only new addition making noise. Adree Hopkins also showed exactly why the Ravens added him. He made a leaping back shoulder catch on a tightly contested throw, and who was covering him? None other than Jaire Alexander. The two veterans showed mutual respect after the play. A quick dub, a nod of approval, and that's the kind of high-level competition that makes everyone better. Now look, Hopkins isn't the same guy who was tearing up secondaries in Houston a few years ago. That's just reality, but what he is exactly what this offense has needed. A true jump ball specialist, a physical receiver who can win in traffic, who gives Lamar a reliable option outside the numbers, and who complements the speed and agility of Zay Flowers and Rashod Bateman. When Hopkins is healthy and focused, he's still a serious weapon, and on day 1 he looked the part. Of course, with Dehup, the big question isn't about what he can do in July. It's about whether he can stay healthy and be consistent through January. We've seen flashes from other receivers in recent years, but injuries derailed their impact. Odell Beckham Jr., for example, came into camp last year and lit it up early, dominating reps against top corners, but then came a minor injury that lingered into the regular season. So while it's great to see Hopkins making plays on day 1, the Ravens need him available when it counts. That's where the standard is now. This team isn't about celebrating good practices. It's about building a championship run. And if we're being honest, the stakes have never been higher in the Lamar Jackson era. We're not talking about the future anymore. We're talking about right now. This roster as it stands might be the most complete Baltimore has had since the Ray Lewis era. You've got a franchise quarterback in his prime, a wide receiver room with legitimate depth and diversity, a defense filled with young stars and veteran leaders, in a front office that's gone all in on giving this group a real shot. But the window, that infamous Super Bowl window, doesn't stay open forever. Between salary cap decisions, expiring contracts, and inevitable roster turnover, this might be the year to get it done. And speaking of Lamar, all eyes are on him. Every throw, every read, every movement is under the microscope. And according to the reports, his first day was solid, not jaw-dropping but clean. He went 7 for 12 in full team drills and 6 of 9 and 7 in Stevens. No huge highlights, but no disasters either. He connected with Zay Flowers on a crossing route That probably would have gone the distance in a game situation. He hit Justice Hill on a clean check down. There were some minor pre-snap issues. Formations, penalties, the usual growing pains, but nothing alarming. It's worth noting that the consensus out of camp is that the defense is ahead of the offense. But that's not unusual. In fact, it's expected. Defense is about reaction speed, physicality. Offense, especially at the NFL level, is about timing, chemistry, and precision. That takes reps. It takes rhythm. And when your first few practices are non-padded or light contact, it's always going to tilt the scale toward the defense. So no, it's not a red flag. It's just camp doing what camp does, and it's not like Lamar was flustered. In his media availability, he made it clear he's not worried about Super Bowl predictions, outside expectations, or any of the noise. He said it himself, he's only 28. He feels like he's just getting started, but make no mistake, he knows what's on the line this year. This team has everything it needs to make a run. It's about execution now, and let's circle back to Zay Flowers. Talk about picking up where he left off. After missing part of the postseason due to injury, Flowers was back and buzzing. Early in practice, he caught a pass over the middle, exploded into the open field, and would have had a long touchdown if it were a live rep. Then came a scare. He went down grabbing at his foot or ankle. The air got sucked out of the practice field for a moment, but a few minutes later he was back running routes, making catches, and looking like his usual shifty self. That's huge, because make no mistake, the Ravens need Zay to be Zay this year. He brings a dynamic element to the offense that not many teams have. He can work all over the field, beat man coverage, create after the catch, and stretch the defense horizontally. His chemistry with Lamar was on display again, and if he stays healthy, he's going to be a major problem for defenses. In fact, he even had a moment where he wrestled a pass away from linebacker Trenton Simpson. A real this is my ball type of play. And that mindset, that's what turns good receivers into great ones. The Ravens need that edge. They need that reliability. Because while Hopkins and Bateman bring value, Flowers is the guy who can truly tilt the field. There was also a kicking battle going on. Yes, a legitimate one. Tyler Loop versus John Hland. Now most expect Loop to win the job, but after a shaky end to spring workouts, all eyes were on how he'd bounce back, and he did. He went a perfect 6-4-6, all kicks inside 40 yards. No long bombs, but consistency is the name of the game. Hland went 4-of-5, missing 1 from 40. So for now, Loop takes round 1, but this isn't over. With joint practices and preseason games coming up, both kickers are going to be tested under pressure. And as we've seen time and again in the NFL, a bad week or a missed kick at the wrong moment can flip the whole competition. So yes, it's Loop's job to lose, but don't sleep on Hland just yet. Same goes for the backup quarterback job. The Ravens brought in Cooper Rush and fans were divided. Some saw it as a smart move, an experienced guy who filled in admirably for Dak Prescott in Dallas. Others questioned the fit. Rush is a rhythm passer. He thrives in timing-based systems, and the Ravens' offense, well, let's just say, it's not always about rhythm. It's built around Lamar's improvisation, his off-script magic. That's a hard thing to replicate. Rush struggled a bit on day one. One throw to Tez Walker hung in the air too long and got broken up. There were a few other moments where the timing fell off. And with a guy like Lamar who can buy time, make plays outside the pocket, and change the script mid-play, it's a different kind of system. Not everyone can just step in and run it smoothly. And now we get into the real heartbeat of training camp: development adjustments. And who's starting to separate from the pack? Day 1 was flashy, sure, but data and beyond is where the grind starts, where players start building habits, where roles start to form, and where coaches really start taking notes on who's going to help them win in week 1 and who might be out the door come final cuts. We've talked about the big names, the guys you expect to make headlines. But it's the depth guys, the role players, and the young talents trying to carve out a place. Who can really shift a team's ceiling? One name that popped right away: Jalen M. Davis. Not the most talked about player in the building, but he put together a strong day, breaking up a deep pass in full team drills and later blanketing his man during 7-and-7s. That kind of sticky coverage, that type of attention to detail, that's exactly what gets a corner noticed when the DB room is already full of talent. Another name that generated buzz was Keaton Mitchell. Back to full speed and looking like the spark plug he was as a rookie, Mitchell turned on the Jets in several reps and reminded everyone why the coaching staff is so high on him. He's got that rare gear, the one that makes defenders misjudge angles and takes what should be a 5-yard gain and turns it into 20. He did have a drop on what could have been a long touchdown, which is the kind of detail they'll be on him about, but the explosiveness is undeniable. Of course, not every storyline is sunshine. There's always going to be some growing pains. Take Cooper Rush again, for example. On one play-action snap, he targeted Tez Walker on an in-breaking route, but the ball floated just a little too long, and that's all it took for Davis to get in there and make the play. That's the difference in the NFL. A split second, a foot of space, and the whole outcome changes. And that's the challenge for someone like Rush, who comes from a different offensive philosophy and is trying to adapt on the fly to a very different style. There's a rhythm and feel to Baltimore's offense that just doesn't exist in most other systems. With Lamar, you're not just operating out of the script, you're adapting constantly. Reading defenses, adjusting protection, reacting to broken plays. And it's not just improvisation, it's calculated chaos. And if you're not used to that, it's going to take some time. And frankly, not everyone has that time in training camp. There are limited reps, limited patience, and a real sense of urgency when you know your season might hinge on whether or not you chose the right backup to Lamar Jackson. And that's where the conversation around Dion Leary comes back in. Just like we said with the kickers, nothing is guaranteed. You don't hand out jobs in July. You compete. You stack good days. You show coaches you can be trusted if your number is called. Leary is going to have every opportunity to push Rush. And if he outperforms him, that decision could get complicated real quick. But while the backup battles are interesting, the core of this team revolves around its stars, and once again the spotlight turned back to Lamar Jackson. After practice, he spoke to the media and doubled down on his focus. He made it clear he's not getting ahead of himself, not talking Super Bowl, not thinking about MVPs. He's focused on stacking good practices, finishing camp strong, and preparing for the Buffalo Bills in Week 1. That's the message you want from your leader. That's the maturity you expect from a quarterback entering his prime. And let's be honest, Lamar's resume speaks for itself. He's a former MVP. He's carried this franchise through injuries, rebuilds, and media noise. He's already done things few quarterbacks in league history have accomplished. And now, with the most talent he's ever had around him, the real question isn't about potential. It's about execution. Lamar even addressed that himself. He acknowledged that he felt like he left plays on the field last season that he could have been better. And when a player of his caliber is self-critical like that, you know the standard is sky high. That's not a quarterback resting on past accolades. That's a quarterback hungry to raise the bar. And maybe the most powerful quote from Lamar came when he said, "I'm only 28. I'm just getting started." That's the mindset. That's the tone setter. And when you look at other all-time greats, Peyton Manning, who didn't win his first ring until he was 30, or even Michael Jordan, who didn't get over the hump until age 28, you realize that greatness isn't always instant. It builds, it matures. And for Lamar, this season could be the moment it all comes together. And the roster around him is ready. The offensive line, while still a work in progress, has continuity and size. The tight end room remains one of the best in football, with Mark Andrews leading the way. And the wide receivers, this might finally be the year. No one can complain about the lack of weapons. Zay Flowers, Rashod Bateman, Adree Hopkins. That's a trio with speed, physicality, and polish. It gives Todd Monken the ability to scheme however he wants, knowing that there are multiple matchup problems on the field at all times. And speaking of Monken's offense, the players seem more comfortable in year 2. The terminology is familiar. The tempo is faster, and the trust between quarterback and play caller seems to be evolving. Now, early reports say the offense still has some cleaning up to do. A few pre-snap penalties, some miscommunications on formations, all part of the process. But what matters is how quickly those things get ironed out. Because like we said earlier, the defense is already flying around, and that's a good thing. This defense is nasty. Roquan Smith set the tone in practice with physical reps, stuffing run plays and jawing with offensive guys, exactly what you want from your emotional leader. Justin Matabuik picked up right where he left off last season, collapsing the pocket and making life difficult for quarterbacks. And Malaki Starks, the rookie, looks like he belongs, smooth, instinctive, and never out of place. It's that type of balance that makes this team dangerous. The defense sets the edge. The offense finds rhythm, and both units are loaded with playmakers who can take over games. That's what separates contenders from pretenders. And Baltimore right now is looking every bit the part of a contender. Still, it's only the beginning. One great day doesn't win a championship. Neither does one rough practice sink a season. This is the part of camp where bodies get sore, where the tempo starts to ramp up, and where the roster battles really heat up. That's when you learn who's in it for the long haul. And for veterans like Jair Alexander and Adri Hopkins, it's not just about proving themselves to the league. It's about proving they still belong at the top. Alexander is out to silence doubters who question his health. Hopkins wants to remind everyone that his hands are still among the best in the league. And when they go head-to-head in practice, like they did again on day 2, it becomes must-watch reps, even when Hopkins made that catch on Alexander. A beautiful back shoulder snag that had fans buzzing. The reality is it was ruled out of bounds. Close, spectacular, but still incomplete, and as Kadri Ismail would say, almost doesn't count. That's the nature of high-level competition. You can appreciate the athleticism, the skill of the moment, but in the NFL it's binary. It's a catch or it's not, and the margins are razor thin. But that rep still tells you something. It tells you Hopkins can still climb the ladder, that his timing with Lamar is coming together, that these are two elite players getting better by going against elite competition. And for Baltimore, that's gold. You want your top corner and your top receiver pushing each other, iron sharpening iron, and setting the standard for everyone else. The reality is this team knows how good it is. The players feel it. The coaches feel it. The fans feel it. But knowing isn't the same as proving. You don't get a trophy for potential. You get it for production. And that's why this training camp feels so critical. This isn't just prep work. This is a championship foundation being laid one rep at a time. So whether it's the kicking battle, the backup quarterback race, or the development of young stars like Flowers and Mitchell, every snap matters. Every detail counts. And with each passing day, the picture becomes a little clearer. Who's ascending? Who's fading? Who's winning the mental battle of consistency and execution? As the Ravens continue to build through camp, the message inside the building remains consistent. Don't skip steps. Don't fast forward to January. Focus on today. Win the rep. Win the day. Stack it. And that's where great teams separate themselves, in the habits, in the standard, in the way they practice, prepare, and push each other every single day. Data may not have had the fireworks of day 1, but it brought something just as important: proof that this team is locked in, focused, intentional, and slowly starting to take shape into what could be the most dangerous version of the Ravens we've seen in the Lamar Jackson era. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers in the NFL corridors are growing louder. BIJAN Robinson, the electrifying 23-year-old running back, might be heading to Charm City. Rumors suggest that the Ravens could be the next home for this rising star, sparking excitement and speculation among fans and analysts alike. Robinson's name has been buzzing around as a potential game-changer for Baltimore's offense, a team eager to boost their ground game and add a dynamic weapon to their roster. BIJAN Robinson has been turning heads since his college days, showcasing a rare blend of speed, power, and agility that few running backs possess. His ability to break tackles and accelerate through defenses has made him a coveted prospect in the NFL, while no official announcement has been made. Sources close to the matter hint that the Ravens have closed in on a deal, setting the stage for what could be a significant move in the league this offseason. Baltimore has long been known for its tough, physical style of play, often relying on a strong running game to control the clock and wear down opponents. Adding Robinson to the backfield could give the Ravens a fresh identity, one that blends their traditional grit with explosive playmaking ability. This combination might be exactly what head coach John Harbaugh has been searching for to take the team deeper into playoff contention. Fans are buzzing about how Robinson's arrival might impact the Ravens' offensive schemes. With a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, known for his dual threat capabilities, pairing him with a versatile running back could create matchup nightmares for defenses across the league. Robinson's versatility, not just as a runner, but also as a receiver out of the backfield, could open up new playbook possibilities, keeping defenses guessing on every snap. Despite the excitement, there remain unanswered questions. How will Robinson's transition to the NFL level play out? Can he maintain his explosive production against tougher, faster competition? Will he fit seamlessly into the Ravens' locker room culture and system? These uncertainties only add to the intrigue, fueling debates among analysts and fans on social media. If the deal goes through, this signing could signal a shift in the Ravens' strategy, emphasizing a more balanced and unpredictable offense. It could also ignite a new chapter in Robinson's career, one filled with opportunity, pressure, and the chance to become one of the league's premier backs. For now, all eyes are on Baltimore as the offseason progresses. waiting for official word on Robinson's future. Whether it's a done deal or just a tantalizing possibility, one thing is clear: BIJAN Robinson running through Charm City would be a storyline that captivates the NFL world. The buzz continues to build, and only time will tell if this rumor becomes reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.